Schock.
Gentleman from Illinois.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Earlier this month, I read articles about President Obama's re-election campaign plans on raising upwards of $750 million. There is no system of public financing for our presidential elections that can accommodate anywhere near that level of spending. That is why I believe the president's strong opposition to legislation abolishing a system the president himself found unworkable in reality is profoundly hypocritical. Putting out a statement of administration policy that states repealing the public financing system would, quote, force many candidates into an endless cycle of fundraising at the expense of engagement with the voters on the issues, and to place a premium on access to large donors or special interest support, narrowing the field of otherwise worthy candidates, end quote. What incredible audacity. This is like the proverbial arsonist child who kills his parents by setting their house on fire and then appeals for sympathy by exclaiming he is an orphan. The president's statement is absolutely saying one thing while doing the opposite. A New York Times editorial on January 24th of this year said, quote, Eric Cantor is targeting for extinction the publicly subsidized presidential campaign finance system adopted in the wake of the Watergate scandals, end quote. Wrong. It was President Obama who killed it and made a mockery of public financing of presidential campaigns with his arrogant pressing of self-advantage. His unprecedented move to decline public financing for the first and only time since the adoption of this system. In disparaging the majority leader, the Times went on to say that, quote, we suspect his real motive is to give an even bigger voice to big money contributors in presidential campaigns, end quote. Once again, the record needs correcting. No campaign in American history had more maximum donors at $30,400 per person than Obama for America. Much has been made of that committee's legendary prowess in generating small donors over the Internet. But that committee has also had a record-shattering haul among big donors, bundlers, and influence peddlers. But such is the right for Mr. Obama as a candidate in America. However, when he alone has refused to participate in public financing of a general election for a presidential campaign, his protestations ring rather hollow. No one has made more of the system operationally obsolete than Barack Obama. Actions do speak louder than words. And Barack Obama alone has refused to participate on the level playing field that existed in publicly financed presidential general election campaign in history. It was not that the system was antiquated that forced Barack Obama to break a very sanctimonious campaign promise to participate in public financing. It was his decision to put expediency over his expressed support for the Democrat mantra of public financing. It was all about a ruthless pressing of self-advantage, despite a core campaign theme of promising to rise above self-interested politics. Today we will hear about, on the floor, measures to address the inadequacies of the system and the need for repair the system. First, I want to note an earlier New York Times editorial on June 20th, 2008, which stated, quote, Senator Russ Feingold, the ranking authority on campaign finance reform, rightly points out that while the primary cycle's public matching subsidies are broken and need updating for inflation, quote, the system for the general election is not broken. Secondly, I ask my Democratic colleagues this. Have any of you received the specifics of what it would take to change the law that would cause President Barack Obama's campaign to abide by public spending limits in the general election for 2012? Because without those specifics, this debate is not grounded in the reality that the incumbent president has zero intention of giving up his gargantuan financial advantage in his re-election campaign by opting out of one of the most perfect systems of public financing we could possibly adopt. I ask the supporters of public financing for presidential campaigns, are you willing to adopt a system that makes it mandatory for all candidates to participate in the system? And can you unequivocally pledge that the President's re-election committee will agree to be bound by your new system? And if not, I would suggest you are preaching at the wrong end of Pennsylvania Avenue. I yield back.
Gentleman yields back his time.